Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at the CURT 4-bike hanging bike rack on a 2021 Honda Pilot. Now the Honda Pilot is a great third row SUV, and chances are if you have a third row SUV, you have little kiddos that sit in those seats. So if you are a bike riding family or just want to take your bikes out on the trail or at the park occasionally, sometimes it's hard to transfer all of the bikes. Well, that's where this one comes into play, allowing you to have up to 4 bikes, but also this nice tapered design is going to make it a lot easier to put those kiddos' bikes on the back here. I've had a hanging style bike rack before, and loading up my kids' bikes was kind of a feat in the fact that the frames are quite small and sometimes they have some interesting angles, allowing it to kind of sit at an odd angle, and I never felt quite secure. And really the way to fix that is an adapter bar. Well, this one eliminates that need because the spacing is pretty tight here. That's going to allow that frame to sit right on the cradles without the need for that adapter bar. Fact that it can carry 180 pounds, so you divide that among 4 bikes, 45 pounds per bike is a decent amount, so you should be able to load this up without having to worry about overloading the weight limit. Now you attach your bikes by laying them in the cradle here. You're just going to kind of feed it in. And the great part is this cradle is able to be kind of adjusted to really accommodate the frame on your bike. Now from there you have these rubber straps that you can cinch down and find the tightest hole, holding the bike in place. Now on the back side here you'll see there is an anti-sway that's going to help keep the bike in place while transporting, and also just kind of make sure that it doesn't make contact with not only the vehicle but the other bikes while you have them hanging. Well, you might say that that's still swaying. Well, it does do a fine job of really eliminating a lot of it, because once we take this anti-sway off, you're going to see how much movement the bike can actually swing back and forth. So this strap really does kind of keep it in place and centers it back as soon as it finds its home. Now something that's really nice is this nice little hoop here that's welded on, and that's not only going to be great to run a safety cable through to actually lock your bikes up, but also what I've done in previous times with my bike is use this to secure it to the pedal, and that way it acts as another anti-sway, really keeping it in place, and I know my bike will stay in place while driving. Something that I really like about this is the fact that the shank is rather long, putting it further away from the rear fascia of the Pilot, so that way you don't have to worry about your bike swaying and making contact with the car. Now, how much space do we actually have? Well, about 8.5 inches, so a decent amount to where those pedals shouldn't make contact. And as you saw, the mountain bike we had pretty wide handlebars, and it clears the window no problem. So that's a really nice feature in the fact that you don't have to worry about your car getting scratched. Now the overall length that we're going to be adding to our vehicle here is going to be right at about 40 inches. So that's something to keep in mind when you're backing into your garage, or if you are just parking at a park, you are adding over 3 foot onto your vehicle. So keep that in mind. Another great feature is the fact that this does fold down. So when you don't have your bikes loaded up, you're going to really cut down that overall distance added to the vehicle. So we can just simply put this pin back. Let's take this quick measurement as well. Now we're down to about right at 1 foot, so really cuts it down quite a bit, so it's going to make it great to keep this on your vehicle at all times, even when you don't have your bike on. The ground clearance on this is pretty good as well, coming in at about 16 inches. So the great part is the shank isn't too far out, whereas sometimes on your platform style, it really adds a lot of length onto it. So when you go on those inclines, you do kind of run the risk of not only your hitch making contact, but the tires on the bike. Well, this one sits up pretty high, so don't worry about the bikes ever making contact. And really, you'd have to go up a pretty steep incline. So I think you're in good shape on ground clearance. So now, once you're at the trailhead and ready to ride, or at the park with the kiddos, if you need to access anything in the back, whether it be some drinks or your helmets, whatever it may be, great part is turn of this wing nut here. So with our wing nut out, we'll simply pull our pin here. As you can see, it's still in place, so it's not going to accidentally fall. And then you just simply lift this, and you can see that it tilts, allowing us to open our hatch and get into there with no problems. This bike rack is designed for 2-inch by 2-inch trailer hitch receivers, and it's really nice that it comes with an anti-rattle hitch bolt. So once you actually tighten this down, it has threads in here that's going to cinch the bike rack into the hitch, and that way when you have it tightened up, You can wobble this and you'll have a little bit of play in the upper part of the bike rack, but the actual shank stays nice and secure in the actual hitch receiver. So that's going to cut down on wobbling of the overall bike rack, as well as making noise kind of inside the receiver opening. So that's a nice little feature. And that was a look at the CURT 4 bike hanging style bike rack on a 2021 Honda Pilot.